Hi, thanks for joining me. I just want to run through the stitches for these Meadow design nested boxes, which I absolutely love. Designed these on a sunny day last year. And also there's a little stitching on the go pouch that comes with this collection, and for that one you also get room to put everything in that you need to. So I'm just going to run through these stitches. I'm going to start with this corn marigold, which is really easy. It's just lazy daisy, but I want to show you where it is on my pattern. So the corn marigold is the little dots. So if I start with this one here, what you're going to do is you're going to start with a lazy daisy from the center to each of the red dots. So I've got my boxes in the way, come out the way. So let's and then you're going to just cover that little red dot. So if you then go to the next one as a dot, if you've got the little red dot showing, what you can do is just put another holding stitch, just to cover it up a little bit, because I've got a variegated thread here and it's quite pale. Work our way around. When you get to this flower and you've done a lazy daisy on every single dot, all you need to do then, I've pulled that quite long because they're quite long thin petals, is then just fill in between until you've got enough petals on there that you're actually happy. You can overlap them slightly, just make them as full as you'd like them to be. And just keep a little bit longer, working your way around until that gap in between those dots is actually filled. Like that. And I'm just going to show you one of the ones that's actually complete. So you can see there that we've got that quite full, and then all I've got in the centre is a few French knots there as well. So that's our corn marigold. So I think now we'll work on one of the other flowers. Let me just get rid of my needle and thread for that one out of the way as much as I can. And let's just see what thread comes next. Red. Poppies then. So poppies, you've got a couple of choices on that. Let me just see where my thread's coming from. It's from there. We'll go for this one. What I would suggest is, whether you're actually back stitching or satin stitch these, you can actually do a little outline of a back stitch around it. So all the way around. I like to do a bit of an outline on my satin stitch. It just gives it a little bit of oomph, a bit of extra volume on the petals, and it just helps to hide any of the pattern as well that you've got showing. That's one. And if you are just back stitching these, I think that's really quite a traditional way of actually completing them. So let's see if I can find a design with just a back stitched one on. There we go. So you could just leave it like that, and I think that reminds me a lot of embroidery that my grandma and my great auntie would do. So you can just leave it like that if you wish, or what you can do is then satin stitch over it. It's quite a small design here, but on the larger box you could perhaps do a little bit of long and short stitch as well if you wanted. And then what I would do for the satin stitch on this is to start at the base near the centre of the petals, and then just take the thread to the outside of that back stitch line, and then you're going to come back very close to the line, and you're just going to take it again around the outside. Again, I'm going to sort of fan this one out a bit, I think. So again, next to the outside, got a little bit of a gap in there, so let's just fill that in. There we go. And again, And all I'm doing is working then. And you could start from one edge, but I actually find it a little bit easier to start from the middle and then go back to the middle. And I think that's about that side of the petal done. And you can see it's really, really quick. Again, I've got left a bit too large a gap there, so I'm gonna just pop in and fill it in. Lovely. Again, the centre of the poppy is French knots. If you're at all unsure how to do French knots, I do have a different tutorial on French knots, I'm pretty sure. So just head over there. Depending on how long I talk for these flowers, I might just do one at the end as well. So keep watching. I'm just going to little pop petal on the side there. And that would be one petal sorted. And if I just show you a finished satin stitch poppy. What I've also done on this is I've popped little black lines, just straight stitches, just to get, again, just give a little bit of definition, and I think it finishes it off really, really prettily. So that's the poppy sorted. Let me just get rid of that needle as well. I'm trying not to get in too much of a mess here. What colour's coming up next? Okay, oh, I've got green then. So let's just unhook it from there and there. Green. Most of the leaves on here are really, really simple. They're lazy daisy, just as that called marigold. They're back stitches. One I have got, which is the cornflower leaf, is a fly stitch leaf. So I'm just going to run through that one, I think. Let's check where my thread is. Yeah. So this would be a fly stitch leaf. This is the cornflower. So I'm going to start with a little straight stitch at the top. Oh, I've got that caught up with my blue now. Come out of the way. Try not to knot it too much. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the left and go down to the right, a little bit below, and then I'm going to come up in the centre of that, at the bottom of that original straight stitch, and it makes a little Y. You just anchor that down. And then the next one, and you can have these really close together, or you can space the stitches out. It's entirely up to you, depending whether you want more of a feathery design or whether you want a sort of a tightly woven design. I think on things like maybe rose petals, then tightly woven is really, really effective. But actually, I've stitched a few of these cornflower leaves now on these designs, and I quite like the feathery open stitch. And then as you get towards the base of the leaf, if you then reduce the length of your stitches slightly, and the last one could actually be there we go, the edge of the stalk there. And I think that's really quite an effective little leaf for a cornflower. It does exactly what I wanted the cornflower to do. Whilst I've got this green not too tied up underneath, I think we'll go straight for, oh, I've got a big knot underneath, I can feel it. Well, not look at that. I'm going to go straight for the little cornflower, what do you call it? Is that a calyx? I'm not quite sure, something like that, at the bottom there. And all I've done for that, because I always think they should be sort of cross-hatched. So, oh, I can feel this knotting up. Oh my goodness me. Let's just back stitch around. I'm hoping that I've got enough thread on. I would have a lot more thread if I hadn't got this big knot underneath. But let's just see if I can get there. I think you'll probably do your back stitches a whole lot neater than this, and quite possibly a little bit slower than this. I'd like to let my thread hang free, but there's no telling what that'll happen if I do that. Let's just go all the way around. And then all I want then is just some straight stitches across to create this little hatched effect. So a couple that way, and let's go a couple that way as well. And I think that's really quite effective for what I wanted to achieve on the base of my cornflower. Now, I'm wondering if I've got any chance at all of retrieving the blue thread. just talk amongst yourselves. Oh my goodness me, for a minute on this one. Okay, we can go with that. I think we can work this. Might have to just thread that needle again, actually. I've got that knotted up as well. Okay, let's have a look. Did want to do this all in one take, hence threading the needles. Maybe next time I won't actually do that. Right, cornflowers. Fly stitch again, slightly different. What you've got is you've got these little V shapes here, and that's where your fly stitches are going to go. So you're going to start at the top there. With that little fly stitch, just as we did before. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create, again, a little bit of space. Sorry, I've got a bit of yellow going on there as well. In between. No, come out. Each of the fly stitches. There we go. Probably needed to be a little bit smaller, but never mind. And we're going to go to the bottom. On the other side of that V, I'm going to do exactly the same. So we'll start with some fly stitches there. Because I always think that cornflowers have a bit of a V-shaped petal, which is what I wanted this to illustrate. I think we'll just have the 2 stitches on that one. And then if you like a little bit of a fuller petal, what you can do is just perhaps pop a little one or 2 just down the centre there as well, depending how much room you've left. I haven't left very much room at all here, but there we go. Let's pop that one in. It just gives it a little bit fuller. Let me show you one of those that's complete. In fact, there we go. We've got this. So you can see there, I've done slightly smaller stitches, but you can see then you can fill those petals in, but you've still got distinct petals, which is something I really wanted to achieve in between. And then one final design on here is the wheat. So let's, I don't know, it's just, I do want to go where all these threads are going at the moment. So, oh, I did want to do the French knot as well, didn't I, if I could. I've got a red thread up, don't know what that's doing down there. So the wheat. Now, we've got a, here we go. It does give you full instructions when you get your kits. So it'll explain about the dash dots. Dash dots, that doesn't make sense, does it? Dash lines and straight lines, but I'm just gonna start with a, oh, no, don't knot up. A little back stitch up the center line of the wheat again. And again, I spend a bit more time on yours, make sure it's a little bit neater and tidier than mine is. But I do want to get through these without making this video too long and tedious for you. So we'll just work our way through, covering that green line. All the way to the top. If you make your back stitches a relatively uniform size, then your little wheat ears can come from where those back stitches join. But if you don't, like, oh, mine hasn't. Oh, I've unthreaded my needle. Right, this is the one that's going to take ages and ages to thread, isn't it? I'm going to get a bigger eye whilst I've got a choice here. There we go, let's go with this one. It might be time to make a cup of tea. In fact, I'm actually just going to cut that down a little. Missed entirely, okay. I was doing so well. Come through, come through. Oh dear. Right. And I have to cut it and get a bigger one, and I might even have to lick the end of my needle, so at the end of my thread. Okay. Could you just look at something pretty for a moment, Franny? Look at, isn't that pretty? Just for a moment. Okay, keep looking, keep looking, keep looking. Because this is not going to thread. We might have to start playing some music soon. Ah, success. Right, back to me. Right. There we go. To the end. I know that's tied up with another colour. I can feel it. Okay. Goodness me, that took some doing, didn't it? I've done the entire wheat ear. So, Lazy Daisy again. Let's do one at the top. And I think it's actually, is it barley that's got the sort of hairy bits on it? So this is going to be barley. So here's where I'd normally anchor. Let's extend that anchor stitch so that we've got a little bit of a kick on the top. And then as we work our way down each side, we've got the Lazy Daisy. I'm pointing up towards the tip, and then I'm just going to put that anchor stitch a little bit longer and then up towards the tip there, just to give the impression that you've got these sort of hairy bits on the husks of the corn there. And these anchor stitches could be as long or as short as you wish, depending. Have a bit of a play, perhaps do one wheat ear, one design, and one with shorter stitches. So another one there. And again, then take it up towards the top. It almost joins up, and I'm running out of thread because that's knotted as well. So I'm going to show you one on here. And again, this has got slightly smaller ones and more of the petals, but they're all then facing upwards. And I'm sure I'm going to show you this one as well, in that you can see there how they're just pointing upwards. So that's how you're going to achieve your wheat. And then if I can recover the needle that's actually got the threads for the French knot, I'll just do a quick run through there. The needle, but I'm not quite sure where the thread went. It was a lot longer when I started. Oh my goodness me, what a mess. Right, okay, we can do this. This is a cornflower colour, so let's go to the centre. So what I've got is I've actually got one thread of black and one thread of blue within there. So I'm right-handed. I'm going to gently pull the threads with my left hand to the side. I'm going to wrap my needle. Now this is from top to bottom underneath, so top to bottom. Let's do that again a couple of times. Pop your needle back in close to, but not in the same hole, otherwise it just pulls straight through. Tighten your thread towards your needle there and towards the actual fabric, and it's perfectly safe there, it's not going to unravel. Keep this thread under control, but not too tight, don't strangle it. And then, I've got a knot there, and then pull it through. And it's caught up behind, but that's okay. Nice and gently. Let me just unhook it from the thread below and do another one there. So, thread to the side, top to bottom underneath, top to bottom underneath. Close to, but not in the same hole. Pull the thread taut towards the needle and the thread, and the fabric. And then gently just guide it through, quite slowly. If you do end up with a little loop on the top of your surface of your French knot, that's absolutely fine. If you don't want it, just pop another one over the top, but actually that's perhaps a loopy stamen, who knows? But that's going to be the centre of your cornflower, and if I show you the centre of the cornflowers there, you can see that's quite light, because that's a lighter bit of the variegated alongside the black. So just cram it full of French knots, same as in your poppy with the black and your corn marigolds with the oatmeal there. So I hope that makes your stitches clear. Let me know, get me on social media and send me a message, and thank you very much for watching.